will be taking about RLC transients with the DC input. The problem what I had given in the assignment is examine the transient response of series RLC circuit with the DC input using Laplace transform, and you are asked to derive the differential equations and then solve the cases of overdamping, critical damping and underdamping. Now this is the circuit of a series R, L and C with an input of DC voltage applied. Now at time t equal to 0, that is at the instant of switching, initial current through the inductor and initial voltage across the capacitor is 0. Why? Because the inductor and capacitor doesn't change instantaneously with any changes occurring in the circuit. So there should be a rate of change in order for an inductor or a capacitor to get its energy stored either in a magnetic field for an inductor or in an electric field for a capacitor. Hence we say that initial conditions to be 0 for L and C. Now according to that, I of 0 plus is equal to I of 0 minus, which is equal to 0, which means that the initial current flowing through the inductor will be 0. And also, since there is no initial charge on the capacitor plates, therefore the respective voltage across the capacitor Vc 0 plus is equal to Vc 0 minus is equal to 0. As I already discussed in class that 0 plus and 0 minus is nothing but at the time of switching, after the switching and before the switching. After the switching is plus and before the switching is minus. Now applying KVL to the circuit, we get voltage applied, that is source voltage, is equal to sum of voltage drops, which is resistor, inductor and capacitor. According to that, you will get Ri, which is the Ohm's law, and L di by dt. Whenever there is a change in current takes place, then you will have a voltage developed across it according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Now the capacitor will be equal to 1 by C integral I of t dt. Now taking Laplace transform on both sides, we get a constant value of voltage. When taken its Laplace, you will get it as V by S, and I of t becomes I of S, and differential term will have an S term and an integral term will have an S term in the denominator. So you will have for Ls, L to be L into S into I of S minus I of 0 plus. It's because of the differential term over here. And for C term, it is in the integral, so therefore you will be having an S term in the denominator, and you will have a capacitor voltage along with that. And since, as I mentioned already, the initial values of current as well as voltage across the capacitors are 0, therefore you will get the expression to be reduced to V by S is equal to R into I of S plus S into L of I of S plus 1 by S into C I of S. Now take the common terms outside, you will get it as R plus SL plus 1 by SC into I of S, and the denominator term, take LCM, you will get this expression, and then take the constant beside S squared to get a standard expression of the form A squared plus BS plus C, and here let us assume this to be S squared term without having a coefficient here. So therefore take the constants outside beside the S squared term, you will get the expression reduced to S squared plus S into R by L plus 1 by LC, the whole multiplied by L by S into I of S. Now you will get the term V by L to be of this, that is S squared plus S into R by L plus 1 by LC into I of S. Since this L on the right hand side, when it is taken over to the left hand side, you will get it as V by L. So therefore I of S is equal to V by L divided by the polynomial over here, second order polynomial. Now for this second order term, you will take the roots. So the denominator term, when taken its roots, you will have S is equal to minus R by L plus minus root of R by L the whole squared minus 4 by LC divided by 2. So it goes in accordance with the formula s is equal to minus b plus minus root of b squared minus 4ac by 2a, which you had already studied in maths. And this b term, when you compare it with this term, it will be like r by l, and c term, when you compare it over here, it will be like 1 by lc, and a term is 1. So therefore this gets reduced into this kind of an expression. Now take 1 by 2 inside. The denominator term, when taken over here, it becomes minus r by 2l, and when taken over here, it is 1 by 2. Now take this 2 inside the square root. So when you take it inside, already you have a 4 term over here. So therefore 4, when you take it outside, it becomes r by l the whole square divided by 4 minus of 1 by lc the whole multiplied by 4, which is under the root. Now this 4 is nothing but 2 square. So therefore you can put the term over inside r by l. So it becomes r by 2l the whole square. And this 4 term, when you take it outside, it becomes 2. So 2 by 2 is 1. So ultimately the expression reduces to root of r by 2l the whole square minus 1 by lc. So therefore you will have an s term to be is equal to minus r by 2l plus root, and the other term as s is equal to minus r by 2l minus of root. So I'll categorize these term as one alpha and the other one as beta. Alpha is the real term, and the beta is nothing but the values under the root. So you'll have got two terms for the s, alpha plus minus beta. Now we have to take three conditions depending upon the r, l and c. So whatever the problem be, so the value of r by 2l and the value of 1 by lc plays a very important role, that is the values under the root. So in accordance with that, we'll have three cases. The first case will be the values of the root when it is positive. It means that r by 2l the whole squared is greater than 1 by lc. So it means that the values under the root are positive. So when it is positive, then we say that the roots are real roots and it is distinct. So two different roots we get, and that's a kind of a system we will call it as an over damped system. Why? Because we have got two terms, s1 to be equal to alpha plus beta, the other one as alpha minus beta. Two roots are we have got, and unequal roots, distinct roots. So accordingly you'll have the terms to be splitted it up as s minus s1 into s minus s2. s1 is nothing but alpha plus beta, s2 is nothing but alpha minus beta. So applying partial fraction method, you will be getting this term to be as a by s minus alpha plus beta plus b by s minus alpha minus beta. Now let us not get involved into solving what is a and what is b. Let us try to focus on the graph which we will be getting. So this term, when you take Laplace inverse, it is of the type 1 by s minus a. So as I said earlier in class, any value 1 by s minus a, when you take a Laplace inverse, it becomes e power of minus at. So if it is minus, you will be getting it as positive. If it is plus, you will be getting it as minus. So this is minus, so therefore you will be getting it as e power of at, that is e power of alpha plus beta t. And this term is also e power of alpha minus beta t, which is positive. So you will have two such terms with exponential. Take the common terms outside. The exponential term in addition can be split it up as e power of alpha t into e power of beta t. Similarly, e power of alpha t minus into e power of minus beta t. So e power of alpha t is common, so let us take it outside. So you will be getting it as a e power of beta t plus b e power of minus beta t. So you have got two exponential terms. So in accordance with that, if we plot a curve, an addition of two exponential curves will make the response slow and sluggish. It means that it takes time to reach for the system to undergo its transient behavior, and then it settles down very lately So it may settle down or it may not settle down. Hence we call that as overdamped. It means that the response is sluggish and slow, and the time which the system takes to reach is called as rise time. This rise time will be very slow for an overdamped case. Now the next case is underdamped. In this condition, the roots are negative. It means that the value r by 2l r by 2l is greater than 1 by r by 2l is the whole square is less than 1 by lc. So therefore this becomes negative. So when it is negative, when you take minus outside, it becomes root of minus 1. Root of minus 1 is imaginary, as we know. So therefore we say this as a negative root. So you'll have a complex because root of minus 1 is j. So literally it is a conjugate term. So you'll have a complex conjugate term. So we have two roots such as alpha plus j beta one term, alpha minus j beta the other term. So upon taking partial fraction method, you'll get two terms a and b over here, and similarly when you take inverse Laplace, you'll be having it as e power of alpha plus j beta and e power of minus alpha minus j beta. Exponential term addition can be split up as e power of alpha t into e power of j beta t. So after splitting it up, we can take the common term outside. So e power of alpha t is common for both, so it is taken outside. So this will become a e power of j beta t plus b e power of minus j beta t, and the response curve will be like this. If you take e power of alpha t, any e power of alpha t in maths, you can write mathematically as cos of alpha t plus j sine of alpha t. So any exponential term with an imaginary term can be resolved into sine or cosine. So here e power of j beta t can be written as cos beta t plus j sine beta t, and similarly e power of minus j beta t can be written as cos beta t minus j sine beta t. So you'll have a cosine term over there, cosine and sinusoidal term over there, and according to that you'll have an oscillatory terms, and then it settles down. So once a switch is closed or switch is open, a transient takes place. You will have a momentary increase and decrease. Similarly, that increase and decrease gets stamped as the system settles down to a constant value. So at the time of switching, a inrush of current takes place, and then finally when it reaches its steady state, it settles down. So this is what it means, an oscillatory term, a sudden inrush, and then finally it settles down. Now the third case is critically damped. When critically damped, the roots becomes 0. So when both the terms are equal, the roots becomes 0. When both the roots are 0, you will have s minus alpha the whole square in the denominator. So this can be resolved into a by s minus alpha square plus b by s minus alpha. So upon taking Laplace inverse, you will have these terms, and finally you will have an exponential term e power of alpha t into a t plus b. So according to this, you will have a plot like it rises up and then it settles down approximately at the time desired for the system to settle down. So at the time of switching, the current rushes in. After a period of time, it settles down, it reaches to its peak value for a DC value of voltage, and then finally a steady value of current flows into the circuit. So this is what is meant by damping in all the three cases. In simple, we can relate for a common example like when you are given assignments and when you are asked to submit it, those who submit on time will be termed as critically damped. That is, if you are being asked to submit by 5, if you are submitting it by 5, it means that you are critically damped. But if you take time or when you delay in submission is the time of settling. So when you delay in submission, then it means that you are underdamped. So you are submitting it, but you are submitting it late by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But when you take more time, such as 2 days or 3 days to submit, it means that you are overdamped. So you give response slow and sluggish. So when we ask for an assignment, or when we ask for you to study and write up a home test, when you delay that test, so it gets aggregated as and when each and every staff gives. So you do that very lately or lethargically, or you pile it up, all the assignments or all the home tests, to do the next day. So what happens, you submit, or you either submit or you don't submit. So it takes a longer time for you to submit, so that we will call it as a overdamped case. So this is what is about RLC transient. I hope you will understand it.